Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We're back to Dice Throne again for round 2 today. This time we've got the other box on camera. We're featuring the Shadow Thief on this side against the Pyromancer on this side. We're not going to do as much demoing in this one. We're just going to jump right into the action. So once again, we'll get our dice ready. We've got the Pyromancer, we've got the Shadow Thief with the purple and green dice with the contrast I hated. Well, green on some of the faces, and we've got the Pyromancer on orange and yellow. Once again, high roll will play first. And it will be the Shadow Thief playing first. So that'll jump into the Shadow Thief's first turn. He's got nothing he wants to use here, so he's just going to start rolling dice. Okay, that was a pretty bad roll, actually. So he's going to keep the two bags and roll again. Actually, yeah. We'll put that through the tower. That turned into a 3 anyway. And we'll roll the last one. Okay, so that's 4 bags, which means he's going to gain 4 combat points. So he's not doing anything with that. And then that's it for the Shadow Thief. We'll move over to the Pyromancer, who will get her first combat point, and she'll draw a card. Okay, so what does she want to start with? She's going to start off by selling a Pyroblast for 1 combat point. Other way, Phoenix. So a Pyroblast 2. She will be able to actually make 3 upgrades this turn. She'll sell Tippet to get up to 5 combat points. Then she's going to spend all 5 of them to make 3 upgrades. She's going to start off with a Pyroblast 3 for 3 flame. For 3 flame and a meteor. Deal 6 damage and roll 2 dice. If desired, you may reroll 1. Add 3 times the flame's damage. On a blaze, inflict burn. Gain 2 times Fiery Soul and Fiery Mastery. And on a meteor, gain knockdown. That's Pyroblast 3. I'm going to grab another die. I'm going to grab the same die that I had earlier so I can mark which attack is active. There we are. Hopefully you guys will enjoy another round of Dice Throne tonight. So I've got our blue die again. Next upgrade we're going to make is Burning Soul 2. That activates on Fiery Soul. Needs at least 2 of those. On 3, inflict burn. On 4, increase the Fire Mastery stack limit by 1. Gain 2 times Fiery Soul Fire Mastery. And deal 1 times Fiery Soul damage to all opponents. That's Burning Soul 2. And then her last one is going to go to Fireball 2. Numbers change to be still 4, 6, and 8 on 3, 4, and 5. And gain 2 Fire Mastery. Fire Mastery is used to buff other effects. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and roll. As Michael Newsom 1248 is joining us here, first to stop by. Hopefully you'll enjoy another game of Dice Throne on the channel. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a small straight. That would give her 2 Fire Mastery. I think she's going to re-roll this and try to go for a large. She's going to re-roll one of her 6s and try to go for a large straight, which she will get. Excuse me. So a large straight will turn into an ignite. Gain 2 Fire Mastery. Then deal 4 plus 2 damage per Fire Mastery. So that would be 8 damage going out. Which the Shadow Thief is going to try to modify that. Is going to try to defend that. He's going to roll. He's going to roll 4 dice on a Shadow Defense. On 2 blades, on 2 daggers, he'll inflict poison. On a Shadows, inflict sneak attack. On 2, gain sneak attack and Shadows immediately, which will ignore incoming damage. That's 2 6s, which he does not roll. Actually, he doesn't roll anything he can use. So he's going to end up taking 8 damage, which will bring him down to 42. And then that will be it for the Pyromancer's turn. We'll go over to the Shadow Thief. 7 CP and draw a card. He didn't get shadows, he's got nothing he's doing right now, so he's rolling dice. Excuse me. Okay, that's actually a natural large straight, which would let him gain 3 combat points, then deal that as damage. So he's going to do that. So he's going to go up to 10 combat points, and then he'd be dealing 5 back to the Pyromancer. Actually, then deal combat points as damage, so that would be 10 going out. Never mind. So the Pyromancer will then roll. The Pyromancer will roll on Molten Armor. 5 dice, gain 1 times Fiery Soul Fire Mastery, deal 1 times Flame damage. Okay, so that is going to be 3 damage back and no Fire Mastery. So that'll bring the Shadow Thief down to 39. But the Pyromancer is taking the full 10 damage to the face, which will bring her down to 40. And then that'll bring us over to the Pyromancer's turn. She'll cool off with one of her Fire Masteries. We'll gain a combat point and draw a card. That's a Combustion 2. That's something she'll probably want to do later. But she's rolling dice. Let's see, 1, 2, 2, 3, 5. That's actually 4 fireballs. Or a Pyroblast. Or Pyroblast 3. What does she want to do here? I think she is going to take the Pyroblast 3. So she'll take 6 damage, so she'll deal 6 damage and roll 2 dice. And if desired, she can re-roll 1. He's not going to be able to manipulate the dice there. So that's another 1 damage and a Fiery Soul. So she'll gain another 2 Fire Mastery. So that'll be intended to be a total of, let's see, 9 damage, which he's going to try to defend that on his Shadow Defense. Actually, he's got more than enough. Actually, he's got a lot of combat points in hand, so he's going to spend a Not This Time to prevent 6 of that damage, so he will only take 3 damage. That'll bring him down to 36. And then that'll be it for the Pyromancer. That'll bring us over to the Shadow Thief's turn. He'll go right back to 10 CP. Draw a card. And he's got nothing he's doing here, so he's going to roll dice again. Let's see. 2 3s, a 5, and 2 6s. Excuse me. Let's see what he wants to do here. He is going to... that was a 6, by the way. What is the Shadow Thief going to do here? He's going to... Is he going to take the 2 3s? I think he's going to take the 2 6s and try for his ultimate. He gets 1 more. And he'll roll again for it. He's already got Shadow Dance active. Okay. So he will take Shadow Dance. He'll roll one die, deal 1/2 the value as pure damage. I gotta see what pure damage translates to. If there's anything special about it. Undefendable damage that can't be modified but can be avoided. So that will be 1 undefendable damage. He gains Shadows and Sneak Attack. Shadows and Sneak Attack. Shadows, when a player with this token is damaged as a result of an opponent's offensive roll phase, no damage is received and no defense is made. But the attack is still considered to succeed if other effects apply. Then as a Sneak Attack, he can spend the token to add a die to his attack damage. After attacking, a player with this token may spend it and roll 1 die to add the value of the die to their damage total, and it counts as an attack modifier. Okay, so that is 1 undefendable damage. She's actually going to roll for undefendable. Probably means she gets no defense roll on that. I'm just going to check that. Can't activate a defensive ability. Okay, so she will take one damage from that, which will bring the Pyromancer down to 39. And then that'll be over to the Pyromancer's turn. Up to 2 combat points and draw a card. Transfer a status effect token from a chosen player to another chosen player. Ooh. That could be useful. Yeah, she's actually going to do that. Where did I find the dice tower? I found it on Amazon a while ago, back when I was getting in. Michael, I found this. Which dice tower are you looking at? Are you looking at the one? Of course, I don't have my laser pointer. So are you looking at the dice tower on the Shadow Thief side of the board? Or are you looking at the one on the Pyromancer's side of the board? And evening, Philip. Nice to see you stopping by. I'm sure you're probably... I would say you're getting off work, but that's probably more in the morning spot. Where was I? Oh, yes. The Pyromancer was just about to spend 2 for transference to transfer the shadows over to herself. Since that's presumably a thing she can do. And then we are rolling dice once again. So let's see what the Pyromancer is getting up to. That's actually a pretty bad roll. She'll keep the flames though, and re-roll the rest. Okay, she doesn't just hate that. So she should have cooled off with a Fire Mastery, but she'll get 1 of them back. She's intending to deal 8 damage over to the Shadow Thief. Both kinda. Okay, so before I move over, I'll be moving over to the Shadow Thief in a second. This dice tower, the one on the Pyromancer's board, actually I got that off Amazon a while back. Let's see if the brand is on here. Of course it's not. I want to say it's not a Litco tower, but I don't remember what brand it is. Let me see. I know I can get at my Amazon. I should be able to get at it in my Amazon order history. Let me see if I can find it in there. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and talk about this dice tower. This one, the tower on the Shadow Thief side of the board. That one I actually got from my local game store. It's actually a really good traveling tower. So it also comes with this case that I can use to store dice in there. The lid is used as my dice tray, and of course the tower in there. But let me see if I can at least get the link to the other tower. It's the one on this side, I believe is I forget what the brand is. It's a Forged brand dice tower. So it's going to take me going back into my order history to get it, but I'll see what I can do with that, which will load while I'm rolling for the defense on... Which I'll do while I'm rolling for defense on the Shadow Thief. Okay, that's 2 6s naturally, so we're rolling on Shadow Defense. Gain Sneak Attack and Shadows. And actually, that will ignore incoming damage. So discard after the affected player starts and concludes a single turn while under its effects. Okay, so that means the damage that the Pyromancer was intending to do gets completely ignored. This could be a big problem for the Pyromancer trying to get past the Shadow Thief's wall. Let's see here. He's probably going to yell at me for a notification. Let's not deal with that just yet. Here we go. Let's see, I'm trying to remember when I ordered this tower. I'll start back in 2020. I'll let that load up while we go into the Shadow Thief's turn. The Shadow Thief has probably got most of his defenses set up at this point. So he's going to do that, draw a card for a transference, and then he's going to roll dice. Oop. And the Pyromancer stole that on her turn, right? Yes. She stole that on her turn. Okay. The Shadow Thief is going to reroll all of them. There's a 6. So we're going to keep that and go for everything else. Okay. Let's see. She's going to spend... The Shadow Thief is going to spend... Actually, we're going to do a whole lot to manipulate. So that would be 6 combat points to change the values of 3 dice because the Shadow Thief is in shadows. So she's going to change... So the Shadow Thief is going to change all 3 of these dice to 6s and trigger the ultimate. Gain 3 combat points going up to 8 and shadows. Then deal combat points as damage plus 5. So 13 damage coming in. 13 damage is going to be coming in for the Pyromancer, who is going to roll defense on... Actually, the Pyromancer is going to use the shadows to negate all of it. So never mind. Okay, probably a bad play by the Shadow Thief there. But that'll do it for the Shadow Thief's turn. Shadows goes away. And we are looking at the Pyromancer's turn while I see if the tower was something I ordered in 2020. I know that round tower was one I ordered fairly early in my time in the tabletop gaming hobby. I'm just trying to see if I can find it in here. Okay, well, while we continue loading, I'm going to go ahead and set up the Pyromancer's turn. Okay. Does not look like something I ordered in 2020. Nope. Let's try 2021. Anywho, we'll jump back into the Pyromancer's turn. She is rolling dice. Also cooling off during upkeep phase, losing a fire mastery. Wow, okay, 3 6s. She's going to go for something that triggers on 6s. And rolling one more time. That's a total whiff. Yeah. That's going to be a total whiff for the Pyromancer. And a bad time for a whiff as we're heading back into the Shadow Thief's turn. Shadow Thief gains a combat point, draws back up. And the Shadow Thief is going to spend 1 to upgrade Shadow Dance to level 2. It's got the same thing, but also draw 1 card when activated. Alright. Let me see if I can find it here, but meanwhile we'll have the Shadow Thief roll dice. Ah, here we go. Just found the dice tower. So this is the tower on the... So this one's the tower on the... This one's the tower on the Pyromancer's side of the board. The other forged tower, the other dice tower was from Forged, and like I said, I got a hold of it in the... I got a hold of it from my local game store. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's already a small straight. So I think the Shadow Thief's going to try to see if... Actually, we've got Tippet that we can use, but he'll roll it naturally. So he'll pull Insidious Strike on a large straight. He'll gain 3 combat points, then deal combat points as damage. So that's going to be another 11 damage going out in the Pyromancer's direction. The Pyromancer will roll on Molten Armor to try to do something about that. Dealing 2 damage back. Dealing 2 damage back, bringing the Shadow Thief down to 34, but also gaining another Fire Mastery. Unfortunately for the Pyromancer, however, she's taking 11 damage back, going down to 28. And then that's it for the for the Shadow Thief's turn. We're back to the Pyromancer. Up to 2 combat points and drawing a card. Okay, she's going to play Vegas Baby out first, rolling a die, gaining half the value as combat points in main phase 1. That's a 5, rounding up. That'll be another 3 combat points, of which she'll immediately spend 2 to play Combustion 2, taking 1 of each, gain a Fire Mastery, then remove up to 4 Fire Mastery tokens, and deal 4 undefendable damage per token removed. Okay, let's see what she's doing. She's rolling dice. Okay, actually I think that is just 1 of everything. No, it's not. We need a blaze. She's going to keep the 1/5/6, hope for a fiery soul to activate Combustion, which she will not get. She'll roll again. Actually, it was a blaze she needed, but she got that. So that will trigger Pyroblast, dealing 6 damage. Let's see, is he going to tip it? The Shadow Thief isn't going to tip it. But we are dealing 6 damage potentially, and then we're rolling 2 dice. If desired, she can reroll 1. So 2 dice, and may reroll 1. Now I think she's good there. So she'll deal 6 damage, inflicting a burn on a blaze, and on a fiery soul, she'll gain 2 Fire Mastery. Bring her up to her max of 5 Fire Mastery tokens. So let's see what the Shadow Thief can do about this. So, rolling Shadow Defense. That is a whole lot of, actually no, I take that back. I was going to say that's a whole lot of whiffage, but it's actually not, because we did roll a Shadow in there, except the Shadow Thief already has a sneak attack die. So that'll be 6 damage going to the Shadow Thief, bringing the Shadow Thief down to 28. Over to the Shadow Thief, who's bankrolling combat points like crazy. Drawing up, Shadow Thief will use 2 of them to upgrade Cardicopia to level 2. On 2 cards, draw 1 times cards. If Shadows was rolled, your opponent discards 1 at random. If Bag was rolled, gain 1 combat point. And the Shadow Thief is rolling. Actually, Shadow Thief should have also taken 2 damage from burn on upkeep. So down to 26. Let's see what the Shadow Thief can do about that. Actually, you know what? In the main phase, before we do that, we could transfer a status effect from a chosen player to another chosen player. He's going to do that, actually. He's going to do that and transfer this burn back to the Pyromancer. And now we're rolling dice. Let's see, that's 3 daggers, which we'll keep those, and we'll roll again. Whiff on that. So transference is gone. Okay, that was actually that'll be 3 combat points to play a twice as wild, changing the value of any 2 dice. We'll change those into daggers, which will deal 8 damage. Yeah, 8 damage, which the Pyromancer will try to defend on a molten armor. Gaining, actually, the Pyromancer is maxed out on Fire Mastery, but she will deal 3 damage back. Down to 23 for the Shadow Thief, but 8 damage will bring the Pyromancer down to 20. And then it's over to the Pyromancer's turn. She's going to spend 1 combat point after I remember to take 2 damage on upkeep phase for her own burn. That'll be the last of that because the Pyromancer is going to get rid of burn. Also, she loses a Fire Mastery on upkeep. And the Pyromancer is rolling. Okay, so we'll take 1 of each. And we'll roll again. We're trying to trigger combustion. Which we can't do, so we'll roll 1 more time. Actually, we could trigger Pyroblast as well here. We'll try it. We don't get that. I think we just totally whiffed on the attack. Yes, we got greedy, so we lost the attack. That is over to the Shadow Thief. Shadow Thief will gain a combat point and draw a card. Okay. And then with nothing to activate, he's rolling dice. That's 3 daggers right off the bat, which he will keep that and re-roll. Okay, that's a full 5 daggers. So dealing 8 damage, which the Pyromancer will try to defend with her molten armor. She will deal 3 damage. She'll gain another Fire Mastery. Deal 3 damage back. But the Pyromancer is taking another 8 to the face, which will bring her down to 10. She's got to figure out a way to kill the Shadow Thief, probably in the next turn here. She does not have a lot of time left. She's got to have a couple big bursts. She's gotten greedy, and it hasn't worked for her. She will spend 2 combat points, though, to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what she gets. Double up to draw another 2. 2. Yeah, we'll do that to draw 2 cards. 1, 2. Okay. We will sell that for a combat point that will immediately use to upgrade Molten Armor. So now we gain on a blaze and a flame, inflict burn. Bumsy Sock says he's watched a few of my Mag 23 videos. Have I tried Black Flight? I haven't yet, but I'm probably going... Actually, I am off the rest of the year at this point, so I'm probably going to put at least one video for Black Flight on the channel at some point in December. Let's see, we're going... I think at this point, she's going to have to go for the home run. So we'll sell a bye-bye, because odds are she's not going to have time to deal with this anyway. She's trying to do 20 damage here in basically, at most, 2 more turns. So she's going to use her last 2 CPs to upgrade to Meteorite 2. Takes 4 6s, but it gives her Fire Mastery, stun. It gives her 2 more Fire Masteries, inflicts stun, deal an undefendable damage per Fire Mastery, and 3 collateral damage to all opponents. But on 3 6s, inflict knockdown, burn, and stun. Okay. And now we're rolling dice. This is all but the moment of truth for the Pyromancer, because there are several ways at this point that the Shadow Thief could win the game on their next turn. Does she try to go for a large straight at this point? Does she try to... I think she's going to have to try to go for a straight of some kind. So she's going to keep 1, 2, 4, 5 and try to re-roll this 4. Great that I'm going to try to put some Black Flight on. Yeah, I've got nothing but time this month, so we'll re-roll that again. Actually, hold on. That was on a blaze. Nope. We would need that to be a meteorite before we could do anything with it if we whiff there. There's another 5, so we will whiff. That is 2 burning souls. We gain 2 per Fire Mastery, so we're actually... Once again, I forgot to lose a token. So we'll deal 2 collateral damage back to the Shadow Thief. The Pyromancer is probably not long for this world at the rate things are going. We're over to the Shadow Thief, though. She had to go for the home run. Okay. So I think we are rolling dice at this point, but we're probably going to spend a sneak attack here to try to finish this game off. Let's go for... We're going to keep... What are we going to keep? I think we're going to keep the bags for now. We'll re-roll the 1 and the 6. Turn into another 1 and a 6. And another bag. Okay, so that'll be 4 combat points. The dagger doesn't let us do anything with it. So basically a reprieve. And in main phase 2, the Shadow Thief isn't doing anything. So that'll be over to the Pyromancer, who somehow gets a new lease on life. Just going to make sure I didn't freeze up. Okay, we're good there. So the Pyromancer does get a new lease on life. And an Ignite 2. Which she is going to discard Hot Streak 2. She's going to sell that and then use Ignite 2. So on a large straight, gain 2 more Fire Mastery, which I keep forgetting to remember to cool off a Fire Mastery. Then inflict Burn, then 5 plus 2 damage per Fire Mastery. Blazing Soul on 2 blazes and 2 fiery souls. Increase Fire Mastery by 1. Fire Mastery stack limit by 1. Then gain 5 Fire Mastery and inflict Knockdown. Which Knockdown would be either spend 2 combat points or skip the offensive phase. To remove this token, player afflicted must spend 2 combat points before the start of their offensive roll phase. If they don't, they skip their offensive roll phase and discard the token. Unfortunately, the Pyromancer is basically living off the top of the deck, so the Pyromancer is now rolling dice. Let's see, 1, 2, 4, 4, 5. That's not one of everything, but unfortunately, she does have an inside straight draw, an inside large straight draw, some large straight roll. I've been watching a lot of poker, a lot of classic World Series of poker, so I'm thinking of like straight draws, but draw is not exactly the word I want here. And that 5 is not even a little bit of what the Pyromancer wants to see here. The 3, however, is what she's after. So that does make her large straight, which will give her 2 fire mastery, so that'll give her that back. Inflict burn, and then deal 5 damage plus 2 per fire mastery. So that'll be, yowza, that's going to be a lot of damage coming in. That would be 15 damage coming in that would be 15 damage coming in, assuming the Shadow Thief can't somehow block that. Along with the burn coming out. But I think on a Shadow... well, let's see what happens here. Rolling Shadow Defense. And no, the Shadow Thief isn't able to block it, so he's taking 15 damage to the face. Bringing him down to 3. This is going to be close. This is going to be a lot closer than I thought it would be. Main Phase 2, Pyromancer's all done. The Shadow Thief, however, is going to have to take 2 damage from the burn, going down to 1. Taking 12 combat points and drawing a card. Okay, he's going to start off by spending 1 to play Get That Out of Here and get rid of this burn token. So the burn token going back to the Pyromancer. And then the Shadow Thief is rolling dice. Wow, 4 daggers right off the bat, which is 6 damage. He's going to roll. I'm going to re-roll that, a 5, re-roll it again, a 6. Okay, so if the dagger strike if the shadow was rolled, inflict poison. But the Pyromancer is going to defend with Molten Armor level 2. He's hoping that the Pyromancer rolls no burn tokens, no burn whatsoever. Actually, no, flame. 2 flame results. Question is, can he force the problem for the Shadow Thief right now is if he can't get rid of both of those burns, he is going to lose. So he's dealing 6 damage right now. He can't use that. He could use a tippet. Actually, he's going to have to use both of these. Actually, okay, so I'm thinking about this. If he's got to get rid of both of those flames, so he's going to use tippet. He's going to use tippet first to increase or decrease decrease any die by the value of 1. I'm presuming those can be used on your opponent's dice as well. So he will change this 3 into a 4. That'll get it to be a blaze at least. Then the Shadow Thief is going to use another combat point to play a helping hand to make them re-roll the 2. Unfortunately for the Shadow Thief, it's still a 50% chance that he's still just dead right here. He is not. The blaze actually lets him survive that. So, yeah, the Shadow Thief gets away with 1. So he's dealing 6 damage. He's going to spend his sneak attack die to add die to the attack. If this is at least 4, he will win. That's a 5. That will do it for the Pyromancer. And that'll be a total of 11 damage. So the Pyromancer has been reduced to 0, and that will do it. But man alive, was that a close game. That'll do it for this playthrough of Dice Throne. Second one on the day. Still really enjoy the game, and I'm getting a little less hesitant about using it for Christmas in Arkham. I've got a few other games that I want to explore, though, with that purpose in mind. But I think that will be the last game for tonight on the channel. I'll set up our first game for tomorrow morning, but as usual, I'm going to hold close to the vest what that game is going to be. As for what's scheduled on the channel, Saturday, Mystical Munchies will start out of the Corleone family cookbook as we're making the appetizer, ciabatta. Next week, I will be continuing Christmas in Arkham with our playthrough of Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, where we're up 1-0 on Shubni Gudath, which means we'll be starting with an extra item. More on that when we get to Christmas in when we get to Arkham 2nd Edition on Sunday morning. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.